irregular turnaround in the creek, because we want to show what has been happening in the creek. A lot don't know what happens, what transpired in the creek.
Yeah, it reminds me of what happened in Niger Delta and what is still happening. So I knew from the onset that this movie is going to be very taskful. It wasn't easy. But by God's grace, we're able to come out of it successfully. If we watch this movie tonight, you know a lot of money, resources, work, risk was taken to produce the masterpiece we have today as Creek.
For years, international headlines have described the Delta through a single word: militancy.
Niger Delta struggle where we start together. Make we defend our resources. Make we defend our people. Fight for our people. When I don't turn up to personal fight. The reason why we carry gun in the first place.
Stories like this are very, very important to be told, you know, so it brings more light to topical issues like this, right? Too many times, majority of the stories that we have are pretty basic. They're the regular, everyday, typical love stories, typical drama stories. So it's important that we are very intentional with our stories. So I'm an advocate for intentional storytelling, right? So you take serious issues, real issues, everyday issues, you know, and you weave it into a proper script that's still entertaining but still very educative.
Assistant director of this movie. When I first read the story, I was like, I'd never seen a thing like this before. We've all heard the stories, divergent stories about the Niger Delta, but I think nothing has come close to reality like the creek. So for me, it was like a first love. When I saw the script, I just fell in love with the script, and I told the director, well, I'm game, I'm gonna be here, and let's do this, you know. So that was it for me.
About it. It's a straightforward story and it's a life story, and I know people will embrace it very well.
Blood and oil. I've seen a couple of movies like related to this, but this is actually one that has come from the location where this is coming from. You know, most of the stories are told, you know, from different states, different basically Lagos, but this is coming from River State. It's one of the best.
This kind of story is one that represents what we stand for. The Niger Delta people: respect, resilience, resistance. Okay? And, you know, I think we will just say this is our story, okay? And we would like the world to hear what we have to say. The creeks of the Niger Delta have very deep, profound stories, okay? And this is just one that is coming from the mangrove swamps.
It's for real. Just to make sure we protect the right of the Niger Deltans, you understand? But the thing is that the struggle, so many young people have hijacked it. So this movie is all about discouraging the youth into going into crime in the creek. That's just about it. And also drawing the attention of the government too, to see the deterioration, the impact of exploration, oil and gas exploration in Niger Delta. That's just it. So it's a win-win for the both sides, for the government and for the Niger Deltans.
It's important that this story is being told. We know that the media plays a very big role in telling who certain people are, and it has a way of affecting our economic development. If we do not tell our stories, who will tell our stories? We are being painted for the wrong reasons. this story that talks about militancy, a lot of people don't know how militancy started. They don't know the struggles, they don't know what we go through. Vandalization, a lot of things that we go through, they don't know. And it is our responsibility to begin to tell the story, of course, of what we go through. But still, we're still very strong, still very resilient, still very hospitable. That's who we are as Niger Deltans. And what other way can you tell a story apart from probably through a movie? Yes, that's one of the strongest way to tell a story.
The creative industry needs to tell a story like this because we need to push narrative that brings consciousness towards the problem we have in the country and all. And this is one of the problems we have in the country. And having this production where we have this particular story being told, it goes a long way to the young ones, to the younger generation and all, to understand the importance of paying attention to things that we need to pay attention to.
And I hope that it sends the right message across that, at the end of the day, violence is never the answer. We should do our best to support our traditional rulers. When I say people in power, I don't just mean the president. I mean the community leaders, the elders, people that make sure that the natural resources that we have is being taken care of. There's always room for dialogue as opposed to having conversations with tools.
I was super impressed. This is a very important story. It's obviously made for not just entertainment reasons, but to tell the reality of the problems that we're dealing with in Nigeria. And I think those are the type of stories that we need right now. We need stories and films and projects that will reflect our current reality. And that is what the amazing producers and directors and actors did on this project, yes.
When we hear about the Niger Delta militant agitators, I realize these guys are just fighting for the family. They're fighting for themselves. They're fighting to, to make sure that the generations unborn have something. So it was real. I had a different mentality about them because what you read and what you hear is, these guys are just doing stuff. And then you wonder, why are people like this? But when you get deeper, you get to understand that they're just fighting for their own life, for their future, Because most of the oil is got from the Delta, but man, how is the Delta?
I played the character Bullet. He's a villain. So I observed that he doesn't talk too much. He doesn't miss. And no warning, no sign, just Bullet. So what came to my mind, embodying that character, I have to ensure that I observe the power of stillness. That is, I don't have to talk, but my facial expression, the way I move, the gesturity tells what I'm embodying. So that's what came to my mind.
It was amazing. This is the first time working with director Toka on set, and we spent a very long time filming, and just the whole process actually was fun. And as someone in the industry, new in the industry, it meant a big, huge thing for us working with someone like Director Toka and the producer of the film, Mr. Wisdom Isaac too. So it was a huge opportunity for us actually.
It was huge, not only being the location manager, also the logistic manager actually. So it was not easy. It's just like we are just waking up from the sleep. When you had a beautiful dream and you're seeing it coming to life. That's how I feel right now. Like a newborn baby, But we thank God that everything comes to life. Resourcing.
My name is Blossom Chukwujeku. They call me the catharsis, and you are watching Nollywood Extra. You're going to love it.